Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Tuesday, January 20. I'm Carrie Simpson. A special welcome to our viewers on YouTube, TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Agriculture reports rapid recovery in crop production. Consumer and business confidence fell in last quarter of 2025. And later in sports, Jamaica's women secure first win at Caribbean T20 Blaze tournament.
Now the details. Consumer confidence fell by 17.5% for the fourth quarter of 2025. That, according to the latest data from the JCC GK Capital Business and Consumer Confidence Report released this morning. CEO of Market Research Services Limited, Dr. Don Anderson, pointed to some of the factors which led to the decline.
How consumers felt about current business. We can see that in the third quarter of 2025, the index was 25.1, who thought that the business environment was good. That fell to 12.6% in the fourth quarter of 2025. That's a dramatic fall off in how consumers felt about business conditions.
Now, as it relates to business confidence, Mr. Anderson says it fell 7.4% points.
What about current profit? Look, in the third quarter of 2025, 11.3% said profits were better than expected. 22.9% in the third quarter of 2024 said profits were better than expected. I want to look at that for the moment. We look at third quarter in 2025, 11.3%. But that went down to 11.3% in third quarter of 2025.
Several roads in Kingston and St. Andrew are expected to benefit from the government's $1.6 billion graded overlay emergency road rehabilitation program. NWA Communications Officer Natalie Bloomfield made the revelation in an interview on Power 106 FM's Morning Agenda on Tuesday. She says the initiative targets flood-damaged and heavily potholed roads, as well as key routes linking major towns, markets, agricultural areas, and emergency services.
Because last week, I think there were persons that were asking about Kingston Spring Road, for example.
Yes.
Kingston Spring Road is one of the roadways that is a part of the preliminary listing. Mm-hmm. I think somebody also mentioned Long Lane and Old Stony Hill Road.
Yes.
Stony Hill to Thames River in St. Andrew. Those roadways are also going to be addressed, or sections, critical sections of it are going to be addressed as part of this program.
Meanwhile, Ms. Bloomfield explained why sections of Spanish Town Road will not be repaired under the program. She outlined specific factors that excluded those areas from the current scope of works.
About 6 months ago, we spent about $80 million doing sections of Spanish Town Road. So in that, I think it was probably July, August, thereabouts in 2025, and we had done rehabilitative work, which was the removing of old asphalt and repaving. And we had done the section from Weymouth Drive to 3 miles, heading towards Kingston, and from 3 miles to Seaview Gardens traffic signal, heading in the opposite direction. And we had also done the section from Maypen Cemetery to Maxwell Avenue. We're aware that there are other areas along Spanish Town Road that needs to be addressed. However, it was not able to be accommodated under this program.
Another alleged police shooting. A man was fatally shot during a police operation in Boscobel View, St. Mary, Monday morning. Indicom has been notified and has launched an investigation. To police report, the incident happened at Boscobel View, St. Mary at about 9 a.m. Monday. TVJ News understands that the police officers were responding to complaints of an assault causing bodily harm, malicious destruction of property, and a dispute. A police team was dispatched to a location identified during the report. Now, upon arrival, officers went to a two-bedroom board house where a man who goes by the name Tony was believed to be hiding. The suspect later emerged from the house armed with a machete. Police issued verbal commands from him to drop the weapon, but these were ignored.
Residents and others talking that it's a police fault, but really and truly the police was trying their best not to go that far. But they had no choice, because if they didn't do that, one of the policemen would have gotten hurt. So they didn't have any choice. So that was what really happened. They didn't intentionally come to hurt him.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, has been notified and has launched an investigation into the incident. Meanwhile, residents say Tony was a good man.
He wasn't the type to walk around and give trouble. You can count on him to come and cut your yard. He will cut it very well. But he's a little bit unsound. He's not mad as in he's on the street and stuff, because he stays at his house. Most of the time you don't see him. He's at his house cooking or something.
The Clarendon police leadership is hoping for a further reduction in crime after the parish achieved its most significant success in over a decade last year. The parish recorded fewer than 100 murders in 2025. Jamaica Maitland reports.
It's called Mission Sub 50. Head of the Clarendon Police Division, Senior Superintendent Shane McCullough, has set out an ambitious target of keeping major crimes below 50 for 2026.
Let's remember the mission for 2026. Mission Sub 50. And Pastor Richards, each Sunday, every day when you fast, when you pray for us, remember that's the mission we are defending again. Yeah. To keep murders under 50. And to reduce all major crimes in the parish of Clarendon.
TVJ News understands that the Clarendon police were trying to keep murders below 70 in 2025, one less than the 69 murders that was recorded in 2024. The parish ended 2025 with 41 murders. It represents the highest reduction in over a decade. SSP McCullough, who was speaking at a church service on Sunday, praised the members of the security forces for what he describes as a job well done and challenged them for 2026.
Brothers and sisters, the persons you see standing in front of you this morning, they are the persons who are on the front line every single day, every single night. The calls for help, the calls that shots are being fired, calls of a road accident where persons need to be rushed to the hospital so that their lives can be saved, the disputes, some of the most horrific scenes that you cannot imagine. These are the men and the women who on a daily basis go out there and they put themselves between you and those who deem to do evil every day. And to them, I just want you to join me in telling them thanks.
Since the start of the year, the parish has not recorded any murders. There were, however, 2 shooting incidents, 1 reported rape, 4 robberies and 6 break-ins as of January 17. It represents a 1% decline compared to the similar period in 2025. A proud, outgoing Area 3 Commander, Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Harris says 2026 is already looking promising for the police.
Within the first 16 days, Area 3, we have removed 10 illegal guns from the streets of criminals. We have, and that is coupled with over 150 rounds of ammunition. St. Elizabeth has recovered 4 of them. Manchester has recovered 4, and Clarendon recovered 2 so far.
Jamaica Maitland, TVJ News.
After months of facing losses, the Agriculture Ministry is reporting a rapid recovery in crop production. Speaking at a press conference a short while ago, Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says this has resulted in a glut in some of the produce.
Current data confirms that we actually have excess production in several crops. And it's amazing that less than 3 months after Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 hurricane that wiped out some of our most productive agricultural areas, that we can stand here and speak about excess crops.
The minister further gave a breakdown of some of the crops which are in excess.
Cucumbers, lettuce, pak choy, and string beans. Parishes reporting notable surpluses include Clarendon, with excess sweet potatoes, sweet peppers, cucumbers, and lettuce. St. Elizabeth, with yellow squash, cauliflower, cucumbers, string beans, zucchini, lettuce, and pak choy. Manchester, with carrots, cucumbers, lettuce, pak choy, and string beans. Westmoreland, with zucchini, cucumbers, lettuce, pak choy. St. Anne with string beans, lettuce, and pak choy, and St. Thomas particular with cucumbers. In some of the areas, you will appreciate that the excess has come by virtue of a downturn in demand. So we have seen, for example, slow movement in yellow squash, cauliflower, zucchini, and romaine lettuce, because these crops are primarily produced for a hotel and hospitality sector.
It's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaica Broilers Group has announced fresh steps to strengthen its corporate governance following the major fraud uncovered in its United States operations. In a material information released to the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the company says its board of directors has engaged Cube Corporate Support Limited, a governance advisory firm licensed by the Financial Services Commission, to carry out a comprehensive review of its governance framework. The review is scheduled to begin on February 2. The exercise will examine the performance and the structure of the board, including its operations, policies, conduct, director development, and diversity. Further afield, U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to 100% follow through on his threat to impose tariffs on European countries who oppose his demand to take control of Greenland. European allies have rallied around Greenland's sovereignty. Denmark's foreign minister emphasized the U.S. president cannot threaten his way to ownership of the semi-autonomous Danish territory. UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper reiterated the UK's position that the future of Greenland is for Greenlanders and for the Danes alone to decide. Mr. Trump yesterday declined to rule out the use of force and insisted he would press ahead with the threatened tariffs on goods arriving in the US from the UK and 7 other NATO-allied countries. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Prince Moore.
Time now for the top stories from around the world.
In the region, 3 political parties in Barbados have banded together to form a coalition to contest the February 2026 general election. Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced February 11 as the date for the general elections. The Conservative Barbados Leadership Party, the United Progressive Party UPP, and the New National Party have formed the People's Coalition for Progress. This comes after the announcement of the formation of Reform Barbados to contest the polls as a third party. And more than half a dozen medical groups are suing to reverse changes made to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's childhood vaccine recommendations. Groups including the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American College of Physicians filed the suit on Monday. It calls the change in vaccine recommendations reckless and dangerous and should be declared unlawful. The Department of Health and Human Services made changes to the vaccine schedule for children earlier this month. It now recommends that vaccines to prevent hepatitis A and hepatitis B and meningitis only be given to children at higher risk for infection. The CDC also recommends parents consult with their doctors to decide whether to give their children vaccines against flu, COVID-19, and rotavirus. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Janella Precious.
Thank you, Janella. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your Midday Sports Report.